2.2b is on evaluating expressions. So, remember last lesson we talked about what a variable is. It's just a letter that represents an unknown. So we're going to skip the warm-up, but a little bit of vocabulary. Numbers, symbols, and operators, such as adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, grouped together that show the value of something is an expression. And they give you an example here. So 4x minus 7 is an expression. It's got numbers, variables, and operators. So we give you two examples. 2 plus 3 is an expression. 3 minus x divided by 2 is an expression. The difference between an expression and an equation is just the equal sign. 4x minus 7 is an expression. When we write it equal to 5, that makes it an equation because of the equal sign. That's really the only difference here when we're looking at them visually. An expression is, right, does not have an equal sign, and an equation does have an equal sign. Example 1, evaluate the expression for the given values. So what we're going to do is they're going to give us a number, and we are just going to substitute it in for our variable. So substitute means to replace the variable with a number or a value. Value and number mean the same thing. So if we have 10x, this means we're taking 10 times x. So 10 times whatever value x is. So letter A, if x is equal to 52, well, it's saying we want to take 10 times x, so it just means take 10 times 52, which would be 520. Letter B, x is negative 5, so we're taking 10 times x. Well, now we're letting x be negative 5, so we want to take 10 times negative 5, which would be negative 50. Letter C, x is equal to a half. So we want to take 10 times x. Now x represents a half, so 10 times a half. Well, let's think about what's half of 10. That would be 5. Last but not least, 2.3. X is equal to 2.3, so we want to take 10x, means we're taking 10 times 2.3. Well, we're just going to move our decimal place once to the right, so 10 times 2.3 is 23. And that's how we evaluate an expression for a given value. All it means is you take your given value or number and you substitute or plug it in and then evaluate or simplify it. So example 2, it'd be a good idea to pause and see if you can figure these out. We have 4y minus 1. Well, letter A, we want y to equal 10. So again, if y equals 10, all we're going to do, we're going to keep everything exactly the same. We're just going to substitute 10 for y. So we're just going to replace y with 10. So this means we have 4 times y minus 1. So when we substitute, it'll become 4 times 10 minus 1. And now according to PEMDAS, 4 times 10 is 40, and 40 minus 1 would be 39. Letter B, y is negative 10. Well, 4y minus 1, if we substitute negative 10 in, this becomes 4 times negative 10 minus 1. 4 times negative 10 is negative 40, minus 1 would be negative 41. Letter C, y equals 0. So 4 times y minus 1, we're substituting 0 in for y, so it becomes 4 times 0 minus 1. 4 times 0 is 0, minus 1 is negative 1. Okay, just a couple more examples. again, it'd be a good idea to pause and see if you could figure these out. This time we're dividing. X divided by 2. Remember, fractions just mean division. So we could also write x over 2 as x divided by 2. They look different, but they mean the same thing. So letter A, x equals 100. So that means if we have x over 2, we're taking 100 over 2, or 100 divided by 2, which would be 50. If x equals negative 88, well, again, x over 2, we are replacing x with negative 88, so this becomes negative 88 over 2, which would be negative 44. Letter C, x is 0. Well, x over 2 would become 0 divided by 2. 0 divided by anything is just 0. Letter D, x equals 3. Well, this would be 3 over 2, which we could simplify as 1.5. Or we could rewrite as 1.5, right, as a mixed number. Excuse me. Sorry. So example 4, the volleyball team is buying t-shirts that cost $9.50. How much will the shirts cost if they buy 12 shirts or 3 shirts? So we're trying to figure out how much total money we would have to pay. How could we do that? So if each t-shirt individually costs $9.50, if we bought 12 of them, that would be $9.50 12 times. So I could add $9.50 plus $9.50 plus $9.50 12 times, or I could just multiply them. Take 12 and multiply it by $9.50. Okay, well, let's multiply those together. Times 12, okay. 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 9 is 18, plus 1 would be 19. Bring down a 0. Now looking at our tens place digit, 1. 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 9 is 9. We'll add these together. 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, 9 plus 5 is 14, 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 9 is 11. Now we had 2 decimal places, right, in our .50, so my decimal would be right here, which tells me that if our team buys 12 t-shirts, it'll cost $114. I'm going to write $114 for 12 shirts. Okay. Letter B is the same idea, but this time we only want to buy 3 shirts. So we want to take $9.50 times 3. Alright, well 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 9 is 27, plus 1 would be 28. And we had 2 decimal places, so 3 shirts would be $28.50 for 3 shirts. And there we go.